it appears one of the largest manhunts in the history of the state of Maine is now back on, because for several hours tonight it looked like police had found their man, with numerous law enforcement vehicles surrounding the family compound of Robert Card in Bowdoin, Maine. There was a series of explosions, either gunshots, flashbangs, it's unclear. Then police began yelling to come out with your hands up. Now there are reports that police went into the property. They found nothing. So 40-year-old Robert Card remains on the run, accused of opening fire in a bowling alley in Lewiston, Maine, and then driving 4 miles and opening fire in a pool hall. In all, 18 people were killed, 13 others wounded, and the prime suspect could be anywhere. Let's bring in criminal defense attorney Vikas Bajaj. Vic, it's great to have you on here. You know, it's interesting because you look at these searches, and it seems to me like I have been watching, kind of looking, and there have been no reports. Police have mentioned nothing about any stolen cars. His car was found. There's no report of any stolen or hijacked cars. It sounds, Vic, to me like he either really did take a boat on the ocean or he's on foot.
Well, that's correct. Or, you know, he's passed away. You know, many times you have individuals who suffer from significant mental illness, and, you know, these individuals unfortunately come to a realization of the significant harm that they may have caused later on in a lucid moment, a coherent moment. And of course, the investigation of what may bring about these types of mental conditions is important. I mean, the reason why this is so important for Maine primarily and particularly, specifically here, Trace, is because Maine is a very pro-Second Amendment community, a state.
Right.
There is a right for concealed weapons, barring certain exceptions, and that's why violence and gun violence is so rare in the state. It's a marked detraction from most of the mantras we hear about weapons, but let's not discount the fact that in the woods, in the forest, the waterways, he may have taken his own life once realizing that he's caused a lot of harm permanently to a lot of people.
Yeah, and we talked about this, but you know, the red flag laws, there is not one in Maine, but there is a yellow flag law, Vic, and the fact that he was an Army Reserve soldier and that he actually turned himself in, saying that he's having visions of killing somebody, and it seems that it's incumbent upon law enforcement to at least take him in, at least take away his weapon.
Well, the yellow flag law in Maine, recently passed and talked about today by Senator Collins, specifically mandates that a mental health professional, an MD, DO, or somebody who's properly trained, conducts a significant evaluation of the suspect or the patient. And in this case, that did not happen. If that happened, and if the weapon that was used was registered, owned, and controlled by him, either constructively possessed or legally owned, those weapons needed to be taken away from him, and it didn't happen. And it's a bad excuse to say, hey, you know what, maybe we just weren't on our game and it fell through the cracks. We have at least 18 people's lives taken and hundreds of those who have been affected. And of course, now we're going to see a movement towards strict gun control, which does not address the mental illness problem scarring our nation, Trace.
Retired FBI supervisor Jack Jupin said earlier that he posted some threatening stuff on social media. I've got about 20 seconds left for you, Vic. Could he be arrested for that? Actually, 10 seconds.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry,
well,
I've got 30 seconds.
Absolutely, Trace. You know, he already has 8 counts of murder, arrest warrant about that. He also has threats. He's going to have, you know, intimidating witnesses, threats, entering an area where he should not have had a weapon. I mean, the murder charges are the bigger charges. Everything else is just gravy. But this is really, again, I cannot stress this enough, a case study in mental illness and how legislation, once passed, has to filter down and be provided and executed by law enforcement and mental health professionals.
Yeah, it's exactly right. Vikas Bajaj live for us again. Vic, thank you for jumping in and helping us out. We very much appreciate the breaking news effort.